Hello everyone, this is Laura from Laura's Lovely Gifts in Lake Elsinore, California. In this video, I'm going to show you how I created these 4 cute Easter crafts. The first 2 I'm going to show you are these 2 reverse canvases. I started out with these 2 canvases from Michaels. One was 9 by 12, the other is an 8 by 8. I used an X-Acto knife to cut around the edges of the back of the canvas to remove that. You can remove the back staples if you want to, but nobody's going to see them, and you're going to put your canvas over it so you don't have to worry about it scratching your walls at all. You're left here with 2 empty frames. I then used some acrylic paint from Michaels to paint each of the frames. For the green, I used the shade Lush Foliage. Now for the lilac color, I did combine 2. I had plum already, and then I just purchased a new bottle of white, and I mixed them together until I found a shade that I liked. The designs for these were created using Canva. I used some of the elements for the peeps that you can find on the left-hand side. There are images. Some are free if you have a free membership. Some are paid. But then I went into the text, and they have the different font options, and I used the Wild Sail, which is playlist, and I'm not sure of the other font, but I made it say the wording that I want, which was welcome peeps, but I wasn't really happy with the welcome. If I was using this on a digital design or something that I was printing, that font would be fine, but to weed it out with the vinyl, it would be a nightmare. So I did play around with a couple other fonts until I found one that gave the look that I wanted, and the one that I went with was Apricots. Apricots? You know what I mean. So let's move on to the other one. Another element was the chocolate bunny. I'm going to do more work to that in Cricut Design Space so that you get the point of the cartoon. But I have our little chocolate bunny. Now I'm going to duplicate him, reverse him, so it looks like 2 bunnies looking at each other. I found some speech bubbles within the elements portion of Canva as well. And I tilted them to the bunnies, flipped it so that it looked like each one was saying something to the other. Then I go to add text, which is the cartoon of what I want them to say. The bunny on the left is going to be saying that his butt hurts. The one on the right is going to ask what, and you'll see how that's transformed later. I ended up going with Run Deck. There are a few options with Run Deck. There's a rough version and a smooth. I just liked the original one the best. We're here in Design Space, and I've imported my files. I did a little bit of cleanup with them in Inkscape, not Inkspace, Inkscape. However, when I went to do the screen record, I lost a lot of the functionality of Inkscape. So if any of you do work with Inkscape and you're able to do screen records, please comment below and tell me what screen record program you use, because I was not able to get anything to work. If you want to learn how to use Inkscape to clean up or create SVGs and PNGs, there are a ton of tutorials out there. I'm still in learning phases myself, so I'm by far the last person to be showing you guys what to do. Here I'm creating shapes that match the inside of the canvases. I did make a mistake when I did this, and I made the square and the rectangle the same size as the frame, not accounting for the fact that the canvas and the design area would have to fit inside of the frame and not be the whole 8 by 8. It would be, I think each part of the frame is maybe a ½ an inch, so it would be about an inch off on either side. I downsized it a bit, but when I physically had to put it together, I did have to move some things around. Here I'm pressing my vinyl. You can see on the left-hand side the vinyl on the mats before cutting. Check out my other video. The link is up above about how I do multiple cuts, multiple colors on one mat. So I'm using my Fancier Studio heat press to press everything onto the canvas. I did my welcome peeps, and then here you can see my bunny. So when I went to cut my vinyl, I forgot to mirror my bunnies. And because I cut off one's butt and one's ears, that wasn't going to work. So I had to cut the wording out of the speech bubbles and just rearrange things a bit. What I forgot to record was removing one bunny's butt and one bunny's ears. I just took a few circle shapes within Cricut Design Space, clumped them together, and sliced one bunny's butt and one bunny's ears off. It was simple as that, and it looked like bite marks. But here's the finished product, and they look absolutely adorable. Next, I'm going to show you this Easter banner that I have hanging in my kitchen right now. I used Canva to create the design, which, as you're watching this video, maybe you notice this pattern is a little bit recognizable. It is the background for most of the scenes in the video. I took just different elements from Canva. I laid them out how I thought they would look nice, and then I copied and pasted it in the 4 sections of the grid. I used the grid lines in Canva to just kind of keep me squared away as to what was the upper right-hand portion so that I could just work in that section and not have to worry about filling the whole page. Then I just copied and pasted. I moved a couple items around, or I changed them out. The jelly beans, you can see there's multiple colors, so I just switched those. The peeps, there's multiple colors, I switched those. Same thing with the flowers, the eggs, and just made it a design that worked for me. Once I had a project I was happy with, I saved it as a PDF print here in Canva, and then I uploaded the file to my Staples account and had it printed at my local Staples. The holographic cardstock is from Michaels. We're here in Design Space, and I typed out Happy Easter in our Aharoni, I believe is the name of the text. Using the shapes option, I created a circle and sized it down to about the same size as a hole punch. And then I went through and I placed the holes whereabout I thought they should go in each letter. When I had all the holes placed, I selected them and did a top align so they were all in the exact same height position from the top of the letters, and then I welded them. I created an offset of the letters, and then the weld of the circles I sliced out of the letters and then the offset. Here you can see my letters all cut out in the pattern paper and the holographic. And I did not have any twine, but I did have elastic, and that actually worked pretty well. Finally, we have this adorable Easter wreath. Most of the supplies are from Michaels, all except for the heat transfer vinyl, which is from Brilliant Vinyl. It's an Easter egg patterned HTV and black HTV, which I adhered to the sign with my fancier studio heat press. And because I wasn't sure of the curvature of the sign, I didn't cut the vinyl out with my Cricut for the pattern. I just traced around it, cut it a little bit over the edge, and then I sealed the edges, wrapping it in the Teflon, and then just pressing it up against the heat press. If you're going to do something like this, be very careful or wear heat-resistant gloves. I did not, but I did not burn myself. For the ribbon, I actually took a TV table and I put a piece of masking tape over it a couple years ago, and then I used a measuring tape and marked out every inch so that when I'm sitting watching TV, I can cut ribbon or tulle or mesh or whatever I'm using, and I don't have to worry about keeping a measuring tape on the table. I can do a tutorial on bows if you want me to, let me know in the comments, but basically I just cut the strips the sizes that I want for the loops and for the tails. For the tails, I fold over the ends and do a dovetail cut. And then I placed everything how I thought it would look best, and I used floral wire to secure everything. For the burlap, this is an 18-inch frame from Michaels, and I took the end of the burlap and I used a twist tie to secure it onto the wreath frame. I then folded the burlap in half and put it on either side of the second wire frame. You can see there are four circles going around. So the second one is the one that the burlap went around. And I just did that until I hit the next section, squished it together, and then pulled more through. And I did that all the way around for the outside and the inside. So you're going to use the second and third circles to create your look and have your burlap be divided in half by those two circles, if that makes any sense. I can also do a tutorial on how I create my wreaths. If you would like to see that, again, let me know in the comments. I put everything together with pipe cleaners and secured everything with either the pipe cleaners or floral wire. The bow itself is held on with the floral wire, and then the sign has pipe cleaners glued to it, and the flowers themselves, I just inserted them into the wreath and cut them off at the stem so that they weren't poking through the back. And then I covered the stem and the bottom part of the flower in hot glue and stuck them back in where they were, and then they'll just stick to the burlap and they should be fine like that. And that's how I put the wreath together. Again, if you'd like a more detailed tutorial of how I create my wreaths, let me know in the comments. Thank you for watching. I know it's really close to Easter when you're watching this, or maybe you're seeing it next year. So just save this and you will have some great ideas to start your Easter holiday with. Thank you and have a great day.